Morning, folks. Today's Monday for me, and I'm going with Wet the Face Brutis. This is a Brut type scent. It is right there in the center. You can see the 4 ounce. If you're looking down here, it's not there. It's right there in the middle as it goes for the how much is in this container, and very nice scent. You can kind of see what the container looks like there. And I'm going to be using a Brut aftershave. And this particular one is 5 ounces. Reason why I'm laughing is because the theme of green, because of I've also got this Yaqi brush. It's a Boar knot. It may be kind of hard to tell with the camera, but it got a little bit of a marble as well as I guess you might say glitter in there. It does have some sparkling to it. It whipped up here in the salsa bowl. Green also. Just needed a green shirt this morning, right? Anyway, the scent works really well for my nose. It is one of those scents that I feel like that falls into that classic category. For me, it's like Old Spice, which to me is kind of off in its own little area. Then you got Brut, and for me, Stetson is another one of those old English leather. You understand what I'm talking about. These scents that's been around for a good long moment and still around today. And for me, being years ago when I was a kid, when I first started wearing anything of the sort, this was one of the very first ones that I was wearing, along with the deodorant right along with it. In other words, it played I guess you might say, an important part as I was starting out as a young man. I've already put a hot towel to the face for my pre-shave routine and used pre-shave cream. This is Proraso, and you might be able to see it is down at the bottom. I don't have a whole lot left of this particular one here, but I still have some more Proraso pre-shave cream readily available. I got something hanging on my eye right there, eyelash. Anyway, I'm going to go ahead and wet the face here and get started. I've got 2 days worth of growth here. And this blade of choice today was crystal. This is the packaging I have. I've seen it come in more than one packaging, but this is the one that that I've been using. I've seen some in some black and red packaging, I think it is. And the shaver of the day, this particular one here is slightly different than what you might see, I guess you might say, readily available on Italian Barber's website, RazoRock. This one here is it says on the bottom there, which may be kind of hard to see. This is the SLOC. This is the self-lubricating open comb. That's what that stands for. This is the 2.0 version, and this head here is aluminum. It is very lightweight. If you were to take it out and put it in your hand, in other words, the words featherweight comes to mind for me. It's just very lightweight. So it's a lot like the Wilkinson Sword Classic razor that I use, where most of the weight's in the handle and the head is very light, and the two are very similar in that aspect. Off camera, my experience with this particular razor and blade, I was on my third use on the blade, and everything was going well until the against the grain pass, and that's when I noticed that the blade had, guess you might say, it was at the end of its use. Right through here and here on the against the grain pass, it was quite noticeable that the blade was tired. The scent is just wonderful. I really like this scent. Anyway, typically in my shaves on a good blade where everything's working out well, my strokes go rather quick as opposed to slow. And when I got to this area here, I had to slow down quite a bit with that blade in order to finish the shave. It's just an example, I guess you might say, how the shave may seem to be going okay, and then the blade, in my opinion, just went south in a hurry on the against the grain pass. And for me, these are the areas that not only have a tendency to grow in different directions, but it starts to get densely populated, and that's the real test on a blade where it's at. It can be quite tricky at times to know exactly with a particular shaver how many uses you get out of that blade. Now for me, I typically 3 is about as far as I usually even try to go on a blade. Most of the time it's 1 or 2 uses, just depending on the blade and the razor. This particular setup here, probably should point out, you can kind of see that the base plate has got quite a bit of an arc to it. And I find that this particular setup works quite well for me. With that kind of arc and the way that blade is being anchored down, I find the angle is very easy to find. I feel the blade, working through the whiskers quite all right. I don't find that matter of fact, the blade exposure is very minimal. You might be able to see it. It is really not a whole lot of blade exposure there. But I do find this razor quite efficient. Easy to use and quite efficient. In other words, my normal routine and my 3-pass shave, by the time I'm done with the shave, my face is very smooth. In other words, without putting out much effort, I get a very close, smooth shave, comfortable shave, and I think it has a lot to do with how that head is designed. There are some other open combs, like the first version of the SLOC, Phoenix Artisan Accoutrement has Douglas has his version of the double open comb, in other words, and I think Yaqi has a version of it, or 2 or 3. I'm not sure how many they have, but I do know they have at least a version, and they seem to be slightly different. This one here I find very efficient and smooth, especially with a crystal blade. Should mention is platinum also. Of course, but like with any other 3-piece razor, if this handle is not to your liking, you can always go with a different handle. Now, I've read some reviews quite some time ago, and I refreshed my memory with this particular razor. Some folks found this razor a bit aggressive. For me, I don't find it that way, but also keep in mind my experience with shaving, in other words, with shavettes, straight razors, single edge, gem, that what one person experienced as aggressive, another person may not. Just depends on what you're used to, as well as what your face will tolerate. And for me, as it goes for how much you'll tolerate, it definitely get down to right in here. This is, if I'm going to end up with weepers, typically that's where it's going to be at. And I have this razor here. I find I can use it without a problem. Get a very efficient shave and not have to worry too much about this, especially on the first and second use of these style blades. Very efficient, considering that if you compare it to some of the other open comb, double open comb blades, I mean not blades, but razors, that some of them are kind of mild, and I find not quite as efficient as this one here. Without even varying my routine, I get a very close, smooth, comfortable shave. Now, if I was to vary my routine, in other words, on the second pass, I could shorten up my shave and change the strokes in direction that they're going, and end up with just a 2-pass shave. At least for me, I find it that efficient. A little bit of feedback on the gear screen pass, especially close, you get closer to areas like this. Even though you hear the feedback, it's still very smooth. I don't mind the shave uncomfortable. But like I said, I've read some other reviews where their experience was different than what mine is. So your mileage may vary, kind of thing. For me, I enjoy it. It's a pretty nice shave. But that aluminum head, I think, makes a big difference. The way it's designed, not only lightweight, but that arc that it puts on that blade, it seems to hold the blade in place rather well. I like that design. You'll see some heads where the blade exposure is quite a bit, and even though there is an arc in the base plate, the blade has a tendency to kind of stick out away from the base plate as well as the cap. And this particular setup here, it follows that design, that arch, just the way it is, shows. It is, for me, I think it's just awesome the way that was designed. Show you again. In other words, the blade does not, in other words, it follows the curve of the base plate and the cap. It doesn't lift up off of the base plate or the cap. It just follows the contour just perfectly. To me, that's a fantastic design. I like it. Alum block, complete with rubber band this morning. In my previous experience, I didn't get any stinging until that third shave on the against grain pass. And then right here, then over here, both of them were stinging quite a bit. No weepers or anything like that, but I tell you what, when I started to go on the against the grain stroke right through here, it's like, ooh, yeah. 3 is probably one too many shaves with this particular blade on this razor. No stinging this morning. Awesome shave. Monday morning, I think we're supposed to be expecting some rain last time I checked. And got a job site visit, so it's going to be interesting how that's going to work out, whether I'm going to end up getting rained on out there. And it's by a creek also, so there's that. Fun for a Monday, right? All right. Witch hazel. I don't notice a whole lot of difference in witch hazel as opposed to scent. Most of them are, unless they've added something to their formulation, most of them are pretty straightforward. Brut aftershave. This is pretty easy to find. Of all the items that I guess you might say, walking into the typical Walmart that I usually go to, I can usually find this without a problem. It does smell good to me. It works well for my nose. My nose is a part-time worker. If you're unfamiliar with my videos, my nose does not work all that well. And a scent like this does work well for me. That's a restrictor there I got here. Like I said, I guess you might say it holds a special place, considering this is one of the very first aftershaves I ever used. As it goes for aftershave balms, After was the first one I used. Pretty inexpensive. Usually you find them, I think nowadays, right around the $2 mark maybe. This is good stuff. I like using this particular scent along with almond, cella in other words. I like using those two together. They work well for my nose. I had a great shave this morning. I hope everybody's Monday is going well. And a great week to you. Stay safe, stay healthy, and smooth shaves to you.